Welcome to Women for One today. I'm excited to be speaking with one of my big sheroes, Danielle LaPorte. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Danielle LaPorte is truly an incredible leader in the women's empowerment field. And she's also the author of Firestarter Sessions and the Desire Map. And I really adore her because she is unapologetically herself in so many ways. She's a great speaker. I've seen her speak. And she's the creator of a whole bunch of other experiences that help people find their voice, which is what we're all about at Women for One. And really allows women to discover their passions and their purpose in life and really embrace life the way they want to do it and get what they want out of it. So I'm really excited to be speaking with her about her next book, White Hot Truth, Clarity for Keeping It Real on Your Spiritual Path, From One Seeker to Another, which comes out in May. So we'll be putting this out towards the end of April. So I'm really excited to talk to you today, Danielle. Welcome.
Thanks. I love your name. Kelly's great, but Women for One is really beautiful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you. I actually heard it in a meditation and got the URL 6 years ago. So thank you very much. So I want to let my community know a little bit about you before we dive into your book. And I want to talk about my experience when I first heard you speak. I heard you speak live in New York at a women's event several years ago. And there's just something, as we spoke a few minutes ago, about you, Danielle, that really resonates with me, and that I believe that all women really need to become unapologetically who they want to be in this world. And I've really tried to be myself, and you've inspired me to be myself as best as I can be and put myself out there because of your unique take on life that basically cuts the bullshit, but is deeply compassionate at the same time. So thank you for that. I want to thank you publicly because you have really inspired me to create Women for One on my own terms and really listen to the community of women that want to share their stories and experiences with no shame.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. No bullshit. Lots of compassion.
That's right.
I love that summation. Yeah. Thanks.
So, I want to start first because at Women for One, we're really about sharing our experiences and stories. And can you give our community just a few highlights of Danielle and the woman you are and how you came to do the work you do?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for not asking me how I got here. That's like the worst interview question to start with ever. So I'll give you a few highlights.
Yeah, no,
it's totally doable
here,
and might actually be interesting. Yeah, a few highlights. Mm-hmm. Well, let's start in present terms. So right now, I'm really excited about being on stage and speaking. It hasn't always been that way. It's like it's a natural thing for me. The invite has always been there. I'm on lots of airplanes. You know, I've always loved a microphone. But now I'm like feeling really rooted in who I am. I'm like philosophically on fire about, you know, my current stuff around self-compassion and self-help. And it's easier for me these days to like remember a spoken word piece. And there seems to be a lot of relief from women when I get all philosophical about our addiction to self-help and also how to really get off your ass and be of service. So that's what's current. My next book is called White Hot Truth. My last book is called The Desire Map. The book before that is the Firestarter Sessions. And it's really, you know, I started talking about defining success on your own terms in the entrepreneurial space. And then we went more towards the heart with like, what do you really desire? And living a feelings-based life. And now it's even more love and more service. And I'm a mother, and I actually don't run it. I actually have someone who runs my company. I am the vision. I am the leader of a company now that we have 9 women, and one really lucky dude, and we work virtually. So
one really lucky dude. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Right? Like I have to like give him credit because he's here. And what What a fortunate guy.
Absolutely.
And we're in 5, in terms of like the team, we're in 5 different countries. It's like 10 different cities. And I'm a shit manager, really not great at it, but I'm a great leader. And there's a big difference. And thankfully I got 1 out of 2 great. Really, my noticing is that you're really great at one or the other. Yeah. And that's me. I want to do more yoga than I actually do. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a really dedicated meditator, which hasn't always been the case. I have a prodigal relationship to all things that are good for me. I've left them all and come back on my own terms. And, and I have a drum set in my living room that my kid plays. And it's really one of the best things about my house right now.
I love it. I love that you're a mom, and I actually have a couple questions around that because I'm a mom too. And I think our kids keep us grounded and real. Well, mine do. And in your book, your new book, you talk about that as well, which I love. I just love that. So let's get into the book because love the title, The White Hot Truth. And I feel like it's a powerful book because it's full of stories and it's very relatable. And I felt when I was reading it that my best friend or myself was talking to me. So it felt very, hey sister, like it's all good, and
right.
Not preachy, not judgmental. And you're giving these stories that really literally made me laugh out loud sometimes, brought me into my heart at other times. And the guidance in it was really loving. So I want to dive into this book because I feel very aligned with where you are with the premise of this book because of my experiences in the past as well. So can you talk about what made you write this book and why did you write it right now?
I wrote the book because I was tired of trying to fix myself. And because I noticed that all of my girlfriends, like all of them without exception, we're all working so hard. We're like knocking ourselves out to be spiritually good. And it's actually creating like a lot of fatigue and a lot of self-criticism. And it's really expensive to be self-helping all the time between the juicing and the therapy and the channeling and the astrology readings. And I think those are all those things, all those self-help things can really be the right things to do, like really the sacred, clean, enlightened things to do. But I'm not so sure we're all doing those things for the right reasons. And I think we're self-helping a lot out of self-criticism, and that's not the right reason. So, when I talked earlier about like my prodigal relationship, I meditated for a long time. I left it. I retired. I'm indefinitely done with this. I was a vegetarian for 12 years and then a carnivore for 12 years. And now I'm back to vegetarian. I'm back on the yoga mat. I actually have like a really super devoted, sometimes really rigorous, like devotional life. Mm-hmm. And I do it for different reasons now. I do it because I only do what feels aligned and what feels good. And the beautiful irony is like, I feel like I'm of more service than ever. I'm way less hooked and addicted to, what isn't it? I'm wondering if it was an addiction. I got to think about that. I wouldn't go so far as to say an addiction, but I'm way less hooked on esoteric external input. Like, I do not need to call my astrologer to find out if I should launch this product.
Right.
And I don't need a psychic. And I'm pro psychic, but I don't really need them to tell me what's going to happen this year. I'm just going to do my thing. And my intuition is getting stronger. I'm getting more psychic, and I have a lot less stress in my life because the decisions are mine. I'm not trying to game the future. So, yeah, that's why I wrote the book. Me and my girlfriends are really tired.
Hey, I get you. I'm right there with you. And I got tired a long time ago, but I want to go into I want to dive into the hottest truth of all first, and then go into some other questions I have about the book, because
Okay.
You are your own guru, which I love,
Yeah.
because I actually personally had a guru when I was 20. Now I'm almost 50. And lived with her in India, traveled around, did darshan, did the whole thing. I mean, I was the seeker, left where I felt like I left a cult, which I believe I did now. Did the back and forth like you did, where it was like I was a vegetarian for 20 years, and then I ate meat for years, and then coming back full circle, just defining it on my own terms. I guess, how did you find that place in you, where, other than just being tired of it? Because I really love what you said about my intuition's getting stronger now that I'm listening to my own source. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
What are some tools that women can use to really start trusting their own belief systems?
Well, you have to, there's something to be said for going cold turkey and going on what I call an input fast. And look, if you're in crisis now, don't do it. You need to continue to go to therapy. You need to have your coach. You might even need an astrology reading, But most of us aren't living in crisis all the time. And just stop. Just stop. For like 3 months would be great. Try 6 weeks of not, no tarot cards, no divination decks of any kind. Like, don't even go watch inspirational people on YouTube. Like, just really stop.
do a spiritual fast. Like, we're done.
That's right. Stop looking for answers. And what happens is, like, you will have withdrawals, and you're going to feel like a little confused and scattered. Like, basically, you're going to live in this space of, oh my God, what should I do? Mm-hmm. What's the right decision? What's the right move here? Even like, how should I exercise today? And then your system kind of it cools down, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to yoga. I'm not gonna go to yoga. I'm gonna sign this contract. I'm not gonna sign my contract. And your voice gets stronger. And then you'll notice, I think you're going to notice 3 months, 4 months out, you might actually start having precognitive things. You're going to see things happen before they come. And you're going to think, wow, I just saved $175 on a psychic reading, things like that. And you also will come to this place where you're going to look back on all the things you did, and, the time in the ashram and the meditation retreats and all those workshops. And you're going to see how great they were, and you're going to see how silly they were. And you're going to and the thought will occur to you that you might have been okay without all of those things. And it doesn't devalue all of it. It's like, I've done all the things. I've done all those things. That's why I'm here, wrote that book. And I've had life-changing, and I don't say that lightly, life-changing experiences with spiritual beings, with humans who had answers for me. And I am absolutely capable and practice great reverence towards some. There are a few people, not many, I can count them on one hand, a few people on the planet right now that I would bow to. And to know that reverence is to know intimacy, real love. And that's about it. I mean, I got this. I've got the answers. I know what feels right and what feels wrong in my body. Yeah. And I'm okay. It's 50-50. Whether you're going to do the right, the wrong thing anyway.
Yeah, and you learn from that anyways. I mean,
that's right.
It's truth, right?
Your soul has already set you on this path to learn what you need to learn this lifetime. So you just let her fly. Yeah.
Let her fly. That's great. I want you to know that I have 17 pages of notes sitting in front of me. When I usually research someone and read, because I know so much about you, because I've read all your books and I've listened to you on all of your incredible videos and audios, and I don't even know where to go here. I had 8 points during your talk right there of what I wanted to talk about. So it's actually a compliment to you, but for the listener, just go with me here, because I have 10 quotes that I pulled from your new book that I don't even know where to start from, because I so resonated with everything you said. I want to start with this one. And talk about truth and discernment next. But I want to start with your quote that says, "The truth is being twisted up and watered down. I look at it as a necessary, albeit risk, guessing game to help us learn to decipher truth for ourselves. What stays? What goes? What do we fight for? When do we stop fighting? Less worshiping of outer sources and more discernment of spiritual information means that we learn to feel what's true for ourselves." And my favorite part is, when you're walking in the dark, you can either sit down and wait for someone to give you directions, or you can get extrasensory and see for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good writing. Wow.
I know.
I haven't read that in a long time.
Good job, Danielle. But I just was like, wow, it's exactly what you just said. And, with that, you also said, if truth is the aspiration, then discernment is a heroine. And I really want to talk about discernment with you for a few minutes, because you talked about it a lot in the book, and it was one of my favorite parts of it, because I've really practiced discernment in my life more and more in my 40s than ever before. And I think it's really important that women look at that word and make effective and conscious choices in their lives after they learn how to discern more effectively.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, this is all about discernment. And I think one of the reasons it's difficult for women who are consider themselves to be on a spiritual path to be discerning is because we do so many things in the name of being spiritual that have to do with, like, not being too judgmental, not being too opinionated, not being too harsh. The divine feminine is accepting, and it's fluid. And here's the word. This is the word. You ready? Mm-hmm. Tolerant. Mm. And so, over tolerance, excessive tolerance is the enemy of discernment. Being overly tolerant it just numbs out all of your senses. You don't see clearly. You don't feel clearly. Basically, in the name of being spiritual, a lot of women are taking way too much shit.
Yeah, you talk about that in the book. There's that story about your friend that had a boyfriend or a partner that I read about in there.
Yeah.
That just took way too much. Yeah, Dick, which I loved. I was like, yes, he's a dick.
To protect his identity, let's just call him Dick. So discernment is not the same as judgment. And of course we don't want to be judgmental. First of all, we need to say, like, everything is a judgment because everybody is perceiving things in their individual way, okay? But the toxic form of judgment, the nasty, constrictive, superiority complex judgment, that's what I'm talking about. Discernment it's actually very open. It's like, I want to see clearly, and therefore I do. Discernment is rooted in, like, self-love and self-respect. Discernment is, if you're going to be of service to the world, you need to be very discerning about right action and wrong action, unethical, ethical, immoral, and morality. That's Gandhi was discerning. Martin Luther King, very discerning about what was wrong and what was right. Now is the time for discernment. We actually, this becomes a political conversation. We actually do need to take sides. I mean, the divine irony is I want to be on the side that includes everybody. But, I've gotten some pushback before when I very rarely publicly criticize people. And on the very few times that I get pushback always from women, never from men.
What is that? I do too. It's fascinating.
Yeah, because it's uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It makes people feel like they have to pick a side. People don't want to be told to pick a side. And people don't think it's very spiritual. And this is the irony. They're calling you judgmental, but they're actually being really judgmental for your discernment. So I'm really okay with The pushback, I say that now, will likely get more intense. I don't need to be liked by everybody. I actually don't want to be liked by everybody.
Oh, I just had one of those Oprah ahas right there. Because, no, I did. Because I have been really struggling with anytime I say anything. And we really pride ourselves in being an organization and a community that every woman is welcome to share their story on, no matter what you believe, because I believe in encouraging conversation and voice and women's voices. But getting attacked by women when I'm saying our country's divided is fascinating to me. To just get attacked just because I'm saying the country's divided, if that makes sense. So the aha for me was really like, first of all, you don't have to be liked. You really don't. And secondly, the discernment piece you just said. You're getting judged for being discerning. Mm-hmm. So
you're actually being called judgmental.
Yeah, you're being called judgmental just for being discerning. So it goes to the next question around the current political climate right now in the U.S. and in North America, and now in the world. What are your thoughts about what's going on and how we can take action to serve ourselves in the world and elevate our voice more as women?
Well, I think what's happening is necessary, and it's been a long time coming, and really just the crap is rising to the surface. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us identify as being light workers, and we really want to be of service, and we're being put to the test. Like, you think you're a loving person? Love this. And I've been I'm not 100% clear on this, but the question for me has been around the whole ideology around resistance, because I know that what you resist persists. Mm-hmm. I don't think resistance it's not the stand that's going to work for me in all of this. I think the response is, instead of let's resist, let's get creative. And I'm really clear that, I can love diabolical leaders on a soul level, and I can see that, they just want to get back to the light like all soul does, but I have to meet them on a personality level as well. And this material plane, to say, this is right, this is wrong. This is a stand I take, and I'm going to get creative to live my life and take others along with me in a holistic way. That looks really opposite to your bigoted, racist, mean, hateful, ignorant policies. And it's very helpful. I think this is the most helpful tool, is you have to always look beyond someone's bad behavior, just like you would to a child. So, we can take any dictator, really evilly acting. So I don't want to say everybody's evil, but their behavior looks pretty nasty. You can take any dictator and, and look back. This could be lifetimes of abuse that they've experienced, that they're acting out. This could be, these are people who might have never experienced love in their lives. I'm not making excuses for them. It's just like let's try and make sense of this. Mm-hmm. And really, they're extremely wounded, ignorant, philosophically sheltered, not that bright energetically humans. Mm-hmm. And as for the people who are in support of this kind of behavior, I think there's a lot of wounding there too. Now, I could stand up at any rally and say, I think if you're voting for a racist, you're wounded and ignorant, and I get a lot of pushback for that. And I could be right. I'm a bit right. For sure, I'm a bit right. Everybody's a bit right. And I could be a bit wrong. And I'm just going to keep being creative, and I'm going to keep being vocal, and I'm going to actively work towards my vision of a loving, compassionate world that includes everybody. And my version of compassion is pretty pragmatic. Like, my prime minister right now, I'm Canadian. Mm-hmm. He's getting a lot of pushback. we're letting a lot of refugees into our country. We're literally,
Right.
they're escaping the States, and they're literally running across our border. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Being that compassionate does affect our economy.
Yep.
And I'm good with that because I've worked a lot to get where I am, and I'm okay to pay higher taxes to support some Syrian refugees.
Right.
And that's how I'm wired. Mm-hmm. I'm good with sharing.
I really like that. And you know what I love about what you're saying is this is who you are. You're going to be in the creative. You're clear on your integrity and your values, but it's not that you're sitting here saying, I am right and you're wrong. Your openness to truth. I can feel it when you're talking. And that's what I love about who you are, and in this book, who you are, because you talk about this notion of messiness, which is like my favorite terms because my book's called The Messy Truth next year. And you talk about the importance of being in the mess of it all. And for me, I find my brilliance in my mess much of the time in my life. And I'm saying another quote because I love it. It says, what I know in my bones is that for most of us, our greatest growth comes from the black, mucky, fertile mess of relationships. When you do that hard work of loving someone the way they deserve to be loved, when you go down into the sensuality of the present, when you go down into surprising self-hatred, into feeling helpless in the midst of ignorance and toxins and homelessness. And when you show up to help yourself and help others, I love that because that's, I think, where we all need to be so much more in our lives. And at Women for One, we're really about having women find their voice and diving into that darkness about themselves. Because what you said at the beginning, this is a necessary occurrence, what's happening right now with our world. And the darkness is coming up, but don't you feel like it's being reflected to us about ourselves, and then we have to start with ourselves?
100%. Absolutely. I mean, these aren't external events.
Right.
Right? Like
right.
But
there's a lot of people that believe that. There's a lot of people that are like, not me. That's not me. This is, and they become victims to it, I believe. So I'm just,
Well, what I think is it's not me this lifetime. But it's probably been me before. And there is a part of me that is just as righteous and narrow-minded and judgmental as them, quote unquote them.
Right.
It's just, my beliefs, they're mine. And they look so much kinder. But I'm just as righteous. And, the flip side of that is I love my righteousness. I love because, there is, I think righteousness is born of clarity. Like, I am going to take a stand for what is right and what is wrong. I do have definitions of compassion and morality that I will work towards. Mm-hmm. Period. And without that, you're lost. You're lost. You're undefined. You're very susceptible to other people's opinions. You are not living your life if you are not a stand.
Yeah, I love that. You're not living your life if you're not a stand. That's wonderful. So if you were new, I really appreciate you talking about the book, and I can't wait for it to come out because I think it will help all of us, even if we're not outward seekers. I think any woman or man that would read this book could get a lot out of it about their lives. But if you were new to Danielle LaPorte and who you are, where would you start on your site to kind of learn about you and what you teach and who you are?
Well, just how I'm wired, I'd be like, start anywhere. Just follow your intuition.
That's what I would say too. But I just thought I'd ask if there's something that really jumped out.
Well, what I think is great is the audio stuff. So
okay.
I feel like I'm my most useful in audio form, and not everybody learns that way. I don't even know where you can find it, but somewhere on the site, there's I do these audio collections, and those are super juicy. And we actually set the site up so that you can look there's like theme collections. Like, do you want encouragement? Click here. Do you just want some inspiration on the divine feminine? Click here. Want to read about entrepreneurship and making some money? We got that too.
I know, it's so cool. It's like anybody, I love your site because I go there, I go, what's Danielle doing? Let's see what she's doing, because I really love how you lay it out and how you're so generous with that. You're not, you're very open about how you do things. And I love that about you. So if in wrapping up, what is one piece of wisdom or advice you would have for women in our community that really are taking the time to listen to this and understand their experiences and stories so they can make their life happen unapologetically?
Well, I would wrap it up with my with my current soapbox thesis, which is the best self-help is self-compassion. And another way of saying that is, if you really want to make progress, if you really want to rock your life, you have to be compassionate. And I think compassion is actually an easier concept to understand than self-love. Self-love is like so sweeping. But here's how compassion works. You pour it on, you give it to yourself when you're loving yourself the least. And that's where it becomes transmutation. That's where it becomes medicine. So it's like you're laying the same fucking lesson again. You did it again. You that same vibe of partnership dynamic, but this time with your boss, or the fellow parent in the parent-teacher association. You did it again. And then you go, I'll use my name. You say, Danielle, you're good. Way to go. You're noticing that you did it again. You're just so sweet, and you're so human, and you're such a keener, and you're still a loving creature. That's when you do it. And you do it when you did the donut again. You're like, I'm not going to do the gluten. And you did it. You had the banana bread after dinner that you're putting in your kids' lunch. And you go, it's okay. So sweet that you had the banana bread. God, look at you. You got so much going on. Of course you had the banana bread. Right? And then the next moment is the next one. That's when you need the self-compassion.
In the small moments, you would say?
Well, it's all small moments. I think it's all small moments. I mean, you can be dealing with big, sweeping relationship stuff and deciding whether you're going to get divorced or not. But it's so many small moments that lead up to that. It's how you feel in the kitchen before, during, and after the argument. Demanding what you want, whispering what you want, not asking for what you want. Those are all small moments that require self-compassion when you think you failed. And it really is about being... This is so cheesy. I'm sure we've all heard this in a greeting card. This is really about being your own friend. And just to back up this theory, this is a key Buddhist tenet, that our true nature is warm, luminous, and friendly. And when I heard the word friendly in that, it melted me and it stopped me in my tracks. I just friendly? That's so basic. That's so Quaker. But that's what it is. Just be a friend to yourself. And it's revolutionary.
Oh, be a friend to yourself. I need to hear that every day. I think I'm going to...
Every day. Call your friend.
I know. Call my best friend and be like, can you be my friend? Please.
Yeah, be your friend.
Oh, yeah. Thank God for sisterhood. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is my dedication in White Hot Truth. It's like the book is dedicated to my girlfriends, because without them, I'd be bankrupted by therapy bills. It'd just be, too much money on therapy. I just text my girls. Yeah.
I hear you. I got the sisterhood too. I don't know what I'd do without them. So, well, thank you so much, Danielle. This has been an incredible conversation. I could talk to you for the next day or two. I really excited to be putting this book out on our site. We'll have all the information for our community on our site about the White Hot Truth, how to find you, how to find your audios, and everything on your site. So thank you again for your service to the world. I'm really honored to speak with you.
Oh, and likewise. And thanks for the great questions.
Oh, thank you. Bye, everyone.